You always expect a little tension when you walk into Thanksgiving. That quiet undercurrent of competition wrapped in cranberry sauce and lukewarm smiles. But this year feels different even before you take your coat off. It starts with the greetings. Your brother claps you on the back like you're his mailman. Your cousins nod like colleagues. And your mom gives you that quick hug, polite, distracted, already turning back to the roast. No one asks how you've been. You hang your coat, smooth your shirt, and walk into the living room like someone arriving at a party they weren't sure they were invited to. Dinner's still an hour away, but the praise parade has already begun. Eric just got promoted again. Your aunt beams. Everyone claps. Eric, your cousin, who once glued his eyelids shut, grins like he's accepting an Oscar. Then it's Tina's turn. Tina's bakery just hit 6 figures this month. Another round of applause. You smile, nod, sip your water. No one looks in your direction. It keeps going. Real estate wins, toddler milestones, someone even gets applauded for switching to oat milk, and you. You're still chewing quietly when you hear your name, your uncle says, and you're still doing that thing, right? He gestures vaguely, fork midair, helping people or something. You nod unsure if he means your crisis hotline work or your nonprofit tutoring program. Yeah, you say. Still doing that. Cool, he says, and turns back to the green beans. You glance around. Not a single person follows up. You saved your vacation days to be here. You bought gifts for the kids. You stayed after your last shift just to help a teenager find shelter. And yet here you are, melting into the background like a side dish nobody asked for. Your cousin's toddler throws mashed potato at the wall. Everyone laughs. Your grandma chuckles so hard she snorts, and someone gives her another scoop of stuffing. Meanwhile, your story your entire life for the past year is sitting silently on your plate. You think about the text message from your supervisor? You made a real difference last week? That call could have gone another way. It had made you cry when you read it. You'd screenshotted it, saved it. You almost printed it out to bring with you like proof that your life had value. You glance around. Maybe you're being dramatic, sensitive, but something in your chest tightens anyway. Not anger, something quieter, something colder, like watching a snowflake land on your palm and realizing it's already melting. You excuse yourself, walk to the bathroom, and sit on the closed toilet seat. You stare at the tiles, breathe in, breathe out. You wonder how long it would take them to notice if you just left now. Probably until dessert. Maybe not even then. You stare at your own face in the mirror. You look calm. But that's always been the problem, hasn't it? You've made it easy for them to overlook you. You don't argue, you don't demand, you just try quietly, gently, hoping that one day someone will notice. Back in the dining room, your brother is showing a photo of his new backyard. Someone says, "Wow, it's like a magazine." Another round of praise. You sit back down, you smile when expected. You laugh at all the right moments. And you wonder again why you came. You pick at your food. The turkey's a little dry, the stuffing is heavy, and your stomach feels like it's somewhere else entirely. You offer to help in the kitchen because what else is there to do when your voice doesn't seem to count? The clatter of pans and the hiss of gravy feel more honest than the living room's applause Olympics. You roll up your sleeves and ask your mom if she needs anything. She glances over. Oh, sure, you can stir that. She points at a pot like she's assigning chores to a stranger. You stir. 2 minutes later, she's beside you. No, not like that. You have to keep it moving or it gets lumpy. You nod, adjust your grip, keep stirring. Then your aunt chimes in from behind. You always were a bit too gentle, huh? Even as a kid, remember how you used to whisper when you asked for snacks? She laughs. Your mom laughs too. You smile because that's the safest thing to do. But something inside you itches to break the spoon. Your hands are steady. Your smile is fixed. But the kitchen feels smaller now, like the ceiling is dipping just slightly. You step back from the stove. Want me to set the table, you ask. Your mom waves you off. No, the kids are doing that. You can just relax. Right. Relax. Like someone who forgot they had a name. You walk back out just in time to hear your name again. This time it's your uncle telling a story about the time you fell off your bike in front of the neighborhood crush, face planted right into the bushes. He laughs, doubling over. We thought they'd have to call in a search party. Everyone laughs. Even your grandma smacks the table. Your cheeks are hot, but not from embarrassment. No, this is something different. It's the slow heat of being used as background noise, of being reduced to anecdotes from a time when you hadn't even figured out how to defend yourself. You chuckle softly. I was 8. No one hears you. You look around. The stranger is here now. You hadn't noticed her come in. She's sitting at the edge of the table, quiet, polite, her fork moving mechanically as she listens. She doesn't laugh. Her eyes glance toward you more than once, like she's observing something out of sync. You try not to notice, but something about her silence makes you feel less alone. Dessert is coming out now. Pies you didn't ask for. Cakes made by cousins who got standing ovations for bringing them. You help clear plates without being asked. No one says thank you, and somehow that hurts more than the stories. Back in the kitchen, your mom is whispering with your aunt. She just doesn't shine, you know, your mom murmurs. Always in her head. Sweet, of course, but just, I don't know. She doesn't sparkle. Your hand tightens around the dish. You weren't meant to hear that, but you did. And it confirms something you felt in your gut for years. They like you better quiet. They like you better invisible. You dry your hands. You don't confront. Not yet. What would be the point? You've tried shining. You've tried dimming. You've tried not caring. None of it mattered. You step outside for air. The cold hits you hard, grateful even. You breathe it in. It feels like truth, like something alive. You hear the door open. Footsteps. Then a voice. You okay? It's her, the stranger. You nod, just needed a minute. She hesitates, then leans on the railing next to you. She doesn't say anything else, just stands there, present. You realize you felt more seen in the last 5 seconds than the past 5 hours. Inside, another burst of laughter. Someone's telling the story about your college breakup now. Apparently, your crying playlist was a family joke for a while. You close your eyes. I'm sorry, the woman says softly. You turn to her confused. For what? She shakes her head. You'll understand soon. And for a moment, it's like a thread is being pulled gently, steadily from somewhere deep in your past. You just don't know where it leads yet. You go back inside and sit at the corner of the table where you always seem to end up. Not quite forgotten, but certainly not remembered. The dessert plates pass you like trains that never stop at your station. Eventually, you reach out for a slice of pumpkin pie yourself. No one notices. Of course. Eric gets a second helping of pecan, and 3 people tell him he's earned it. Tina's baby is fussing and instantly gets surrounded by doting aunts and uncles. There's a warmth circling around the family, a shared glow. It just never seems to stretch far enough to touch you. Then the gift exchange starts something new this year. Just something small, your mom says cheerfully, holding up a gift bag. You hadn't been told about this. You watch as little packages are handed out. A scented candle for Tina, a leather wallet for Eric, a framed photo collage for your uncle. You even see your name on one gift bag, which is quickly handed to your cousin with a similar name. Laughter. Oops, no one corrects it. No one has anything for you. As you manage a smile that probably looks more like a grimace. It's a familiar feeling, this mix of invisibility and polite shame. You drink some water, as if it'll wash the ache away. Finally, you decide to speak, just enough to remind them you're here. You say, I actually brought something too. A few heads turn. Mild surprise, as though they'd forgotten you were in the room. You reach into your bag and pull out a small envelope. I made donations to local shelters in everyone's names. Just thought it might mean more than more stuff. Silence. Then someone coughs. Your mom blinks clearly, trying to find something gracious to say. Oh, that's nice. Tina says, like actual homeless shelters. You nod. Yes, and some crisis lines. They really need support during the holidays. Your aunt stirs her coffee. Well, that's thoughtful, she says with a tone that sounds more like she's biting into a dry cracker. A little bleak, though, don't you think? You swallow. Not if you know the people it helps. And right then the stranger looks up from her plate. For the first time all evening, her voice breaks the surface. No, she says clear and calm. It's not bleak. It's real. Everyone glances her way. She doesn't elaborate, just sips her tea and looks back at you like she's tethering you to something firmer than approval. But the moment passes. Someone changes the subject. Your donation gets buried beneath chatter about airline miles and holiday plans. No one asks you anything else for the rest of the night. Later, you help load dishes into the dishwasher. You overhear someone in the other room saying, "She's sweet, just a bit intense, huh?" Another says she always does those odd little things like trying to be deep. You stand there, sponge in hand, letting their words soak into your skin like dishwater. Not angry, just tired, and quietly ashamed of ever thinking this year would be different. Back in the dining room, your brother's showing off his new smartwatch. It's somehow connected to his home gym. It tracks my sleep, my steps, and even hydration. Pretty wild. Imagine if it tracked emotional intelligence, you mutter under your breath. The stranger laughs softly. Only she hears you. As people start to collect coats and leftovers, your mom hands out Tupperware, like party favors. You notice she skips over you, maybe assuming you wouldn't want any. Or maybe just forgetting again. You don't ask, you don't press. But a part of you notes it stores it like a receipt you'll never return but can't quite throw away. And then, right before you start to pull on your coat, the stranger speaks again. "I didn't come just to eat," she says, standing slowly. Everyone turns to her. "I actually came because I needed to thank someone." You freeze one arm in your coat, and you already know before she says another word, you already know who she means. The room doesn't go silent, it collapses. Forks pause midair. Someone's phone stops playing a holiday playlist mid-song. And all eyes shift to the woman no one really bothered to get to know, the guest. Your aunt described earlier as a friend from work going through a tough patch. She's standing now, one hand on the back of her chair, gaze locked on you. You feel the heat of it. Not confrontational, not grateful in the performative gift card thank you note way, but real, piercing. "I came tonight because I found out who you were," she says, still facing your family. But her voice feels aimed only at you. "I didn't know your name until a few weeks ago, but I knew your words." You hear your aunt inhale sharply. "What's this about?" The stranger nods to you soft now. 3 years ago, I was in a really bad place. I had lost my job, my partner left. I was alone in a way that didn't feel survivable. She swallows. You feel your pulse take in your neck. "I was scrolling one night, mindless doom scrolling, and I landed on this post. It wasn't flashy, no hashtags, just quiet words about choosing to stay, about how pain can feel louder than life sometimes. But that doesn't make it permanent." You suddenly remember. Not the words exactly, but the impulse. You wrote it late at night on a burner account you never used again. You remember being exhausted, lying on your kitchen floor with the lights off. You didn't think anyone would even see it. She continues. "I read that post 15 times. I screenshotted it. I wrote it down. I even printed it and taped it inside my medicine cabinet. It was the first thing I saw every morning for months. No one in your family is talking now. Not one joke. Not even a cough." She breathes in. "You didn't sign your name. You didn't ask for anything. But last month I was helping my coworker set up a fundraiser, and your name popped up in the donor list." The email matched the one attached to that post. Your mom breaks the silence. "Wait, that was her." The stranger nods, and you tracked her down just to say, "Thank you." Your cousin asks, half incredulous, half confused. "No," she says. "I came because she saved my life." You blink hard. Once, twice. Your skin feels too tight for your body. You glance at your mom, whose mouth is slightly open. At your brother, who looks like he's trying to math his way through a word problem. At your aunt, who touches her necklace like it's a prayer bead. And then back at her. This woman who was a stranger 10 minutes ago, who is now the only person in the room who's ever truly seen you. You try to speak, but your throat folds in on itself. You manage a whisper, "I didn't think anyone even read it." She smiles. "I know, that's what made it so honest." The silence isn't awkward now. It's full. Like everyone's trying to recalibrate reality around a version of you they never bothered to discover. Your uncle, the same one who brought up your childhood bike crash earlier, says, "Well, wow, that's something." You nod. You're still trying to breathe normally. Tina says, "I guess she does those blog posts or something, huh?" The stranger turns slightly, voice now tinged with something firmer. She does more than posts. She gave someone a reason to wake up the next day. The room wobbles on its axis again. That tone, it's not aggressive, but it's the kind of truth that doesn't blink. Your mom finally speaks. We didn't know. And you want to say you never asked, but you don't. Not yet. Instead, you sit down, slowly, carefully, like you're taking your seat at a table that just became yours. The stranger walks over and gently hands you something. It's that screenshot. Your words printed and folded neatly. You recognize the line in the center. Stay not because today is beautiful, but because tomorrow deserves a chance to be. Your handwriting, your heart, forgotten by you, but memorized by someone else. Everyone's still watching. And for the first time all night, their silence feels less like neglect and more like recognition. Like maybe they're seeing something they can't unsee now. You smooth the paper out and place it on your lap. And without meaning to, you finally begin to feel real. It's strange how fast a room can shift without anyone physically moving. The same lights, same turkey smell lingering in the air, same lukewarm cider on the sideboard. But something's cracked. Something invisible has fractured, and now everyone is seeing you through a new lens, blurry, confused, but undeniable. The stranger, her name is Maeve, you later learn, sits back down beside you like she hadn't just rearranged the emotional furniture in the house. Her plate still half full untouched. You wonder if she even came hungry. There's a beat of silence, a single one. Then your aunt clears her throat. Well, that's quite a story. You don't reply. You don't have to. Your mom tries to fill the gap with a chipper voice that doesn't quite find its footing. So, you write things online. You nod. Like poetry blog posts, Facebook. You tilt your head. Sometimes. But mostly just things I wish someone had told me when I was younger. She smiles tightly. Oh, that's nice. Nice. Like hand soap. Like mild weather. Like a safe word people use when they don't know how to feel. Your brother looks at you differently now? Like he's comparing you to the version of you he's filed away. I didn't even know you did that stuff. He says more to himself than to you. You shrug. I didn't think anyone cared. That lands. Hard. Your cousin stops mid-bite. Your uncle shifts uncomfortably in his chair. But Maeve, she smiles. Not a wide one, a knowing one. And for once the silence that follows feels earned. Someone tries to steer the conversation back to safe ground. Eric starts talking about his gym again. Tina scrolls through her phone to show baby pictures. The tension thins, but it doesn't leave. It lingers in the corners like steam that refuses to rise. You glance at Maeve. You didn't have to say all that. She shakes her head. I did. You didn't owe me anything. No, she says. But I owed me something, and part of that was honoring what kept me alive. You blink. I wasn't supposed to come tonight. I almost canceled. But something told me I had to, that I needed to say it out loud, in front of people who never said it to you. Your eyes sting. You look down at the paper she gave you. You read it again slower this time. You can feel your hands trembling, but it doesn't feel like fear. It feels like clarity. Do you still write? She asks gently. You nod. Every week, I run a little newsletter, private. Just something small. She raises an eyebrow. How many people read it? You glance away. About 18,000. She exhales stunned. 18,000. You nod. I don't advertise it. Just word of mouth, or people who need it find it. You feel the weight of their gazes again. Like puzzle pieces trying to find new places. For years, you felt like an accessory in this family. Something tolerated, but not treasured. Now, in the span of one honest confession from a stranger, you've become something they can't categorize. Why didn't you tell us? Your aunt asks. You meet her eyes. You never asked. It's not meant to be cruel. It's just the truth. And it lands like one. Your grandma speaks next, her voice thin and worn. You've always been so quiet. We thought, maybe you didn't want to be seen. You smile gently. No, I wanted to be seen without having to shout. Maeve gives your hand a soft nudge beneath the table. Like a subtle there it is. You feel something settling inside you. Not satisfaction, not triumph. Just balance. Like a scale that had been tilting your whole life is finally evening out. You excuse yourself and head to the hallway for a breath. This time when you pass the mirror, you pause. Your reflection is still you. Same face, same calm expression. But now your shoulders are just a little less tense, your eyes a little less tired, because something invisible has finally been named. Behind you, you hear Maeve laugh at something the kids say. It's a soft, low laugh, and it blends easily into the atmosphere. But for the first time all night, the house doesn't feel like it's working against you. It feels like it's learning how to make room. You return to the dining room slowly, almost cautiously, like you're testing whether this new version of you is still allowed to exist in the old air. It is. Or at least no one is rushing to push it back into silence. Maeve gives you a subtle nod as you sit again. Your mom offers you coffee unsweetened just how you like it. You don't know if that's a peace offering or muscle memory. You accept it anyway. The others start cleaning up. Some plates get stacked, others scraped. Someone puts on a light jazz playlist, something mellow to smooth over what no one is quite ready to talk about. Maeve doesn't leave your side. I was serious, she says, her voice low. You look at her. About you saving my life. You nod slowly. I just wrote a post. I didn't even think it was that good. Maeve smiles, but there's no amusement in it. You weren't trying to be good. That's why it mattered. You weren't performing. You were honest. And I needed honest more than I needed anything else that night. You glance around the room. No one is listening anymore, not directly. But you sense ears tilted just slightly. Even when they're rinsing pie plates or folding napkins, they're tuned to this new melody, quiet and curious. I think I remember writing it, you admit. It was a bad night for me, too. I couldn't sleep. I was sitting in the dark just typing what I needed to hear. Maeve nods. Isn't that always how it starts? The best things we give to others usually begin as a gift to ourselves. You'd never thought of it like that. But now it settles into your chest like a truth you've been waiting to grow into. Across the table, your cousin, usually the loudest voice, says softly, "What was it like?" Writing that knowing someone might see it. You pause. It's the first genuine question anyone in your family has asked you all night. You think about your answer. Honestly, I didn't think anyone would. I wasn't trying to build something. I was just trying not to feel like I was falling apart alone. He nods. Yeah, I get that. You don't know if he really does. But you appreciate the effort. Maeve shifts in her seat. Do you ever write back to the people who respond to you? Sometimes you say, when I can. But mostly I just keep posting. The replies are anonymous half the time. I don't know who they are or what happened after. I just hope something landed. She reaches into her purse and pulls out a folded piece of paper. It's a letter handwritten. I wasn't sure if I'd give this to you, she says, but I wrote it last week just in case I couldn't get the words out tonight. You take it carefully like it might dissolve. She nods for you to open it now. The handwriting is neat, deliberate, and the words are heavy. She writes about a night on a bridge, a hand on a railing, and a phone screen glowing with the last message she ever thought she'd read. She writes about pausing just long enough to remember what it felt like to be held by a sentence. She writes about therapy, about rebuilding, about waking up 6 months later with the sun in her face and the thought, I'm still here. You look up. She doesn't say anything. She just lets the words sit between you like something sacred. Your mom walks over then slowly. Her hands are wringing a dish towel and her voice is quieter than it's been all evening. I didn't know you were carrying so much, she says. I wish I had. You nod. I wish you had too. It's not an accusation, it's just the truth. She looks at the letter. Can I read it? You hesitate, then glance at Maeve. Maeve considers for a moment, then nods once. If you think it'll help. You hand it to your mom. She reads it like it's glass. Her hands shake just slightly. When she finishes, she folds it carefully and hands it back like it's not hers to keep. I'm sorry, she whispers. You don't rush to forgive. You don't smooth it over. You just hold that moment like a fragile bridge. And for once, she doesn't run from it. Maeve stands. I should go. You walk her to the door. The night is cool again, honest. She hugs you, not tight, not awkward, just real. Keep writing, she says. People you'll never meet are waiting. You watch her walk down the porch steps, the streetlight catching in her hair. You already feel the silence she's leaving behind. But it's a warm silence now, a full one. Inside, the music has changed. Someone put on something soft, a little sad, a little beautiful. You look at the family you've always known and the person you've just been reminded you are. And for the first time in a long time, they aren't at war. You sit back down feeling the echo of Maeve's words in your body like a second heartbeat. Everything feels a little slower now, not heavy but deliberate, like the air has stopped rushing past you and instead decided to sit beside you in quiet solidarity. No one really speaks at first. A few people shuffle napkins, someone rinses a dish too long. You notice your brother watching you with a furrowed brow, like he's trying to run a software update on everything he thought he knew about you. You let it hang. It's not silence you're afraid of anymore. Your mom clears her throat. You said something about helping at a crisis line. You nod, still sipping what's left of your coffee. Yeah, late shifts, sometimes weekends, mostly anonymous chats. Isn't that heavy? It can be. But sometimes the heaviness is the whole point. You just try to help carry it for a while, even just for one night. There's a pause. Your uncle says you always were the emotional one. But it doesn't land the way he thinks. He says it like an apology masquerading as a joke. The table doesn't laugh this time. You let it pass. You're no longer here to defend your softness. Your mom frowns. Why didn't you tell us more about all this? You stare at her. Because you never really made space for the parts of me you didn't understand or didn't find convenient. She nods slowly as if absorbing that line one syllable at a time. I always thought you were just shy, she says. You smile not unkindly. I'm not shy, I'm selective. And tired. That gets a tiny laugh from your cousin. I always thought you were mysterious, she says. Turns out you were just doing something real. You nod, turns out. The conversation meanders. Someone asks about the newsletter. Someone else admits they used to write poetry, but gave up. There's a sudden weird moment where your aunt asks if you could maybe show her how to be more mindful on Facebook. You gently steer away from that. But something about their energy has shifted. Not transformed, not entirely, but opened. Your brother offers you a piece of pie. I didn't know, he says as he sets it in front of you. Any of it. You lift your fork. You never asked. I guess I thought you were just not like us. You chew, swallow, then say I'm not. But you smile. Because for the first time, that doesn't feel like exile. It feels like permission. Your grandma clutches her napkin a little tighter than usual. I always worried about you, she says. I didn't know how to talk to you. You nod. It's okay, most people don't. There's no bitterness in your voice, only fact. But I'm glad you came tonight, she says. You consider that. So are you in a strange way? Not because they welcomed you, but because Maeve did. Because someone outside the family saw you and in doing so, reminded you that you existed, that you mattered, that you made impact even when you felt invisible. You always had a kind heart, your grandma adds, even when you were little. That hits you harder than expected. You look up. I think I just stopped trying to show it. After a while, no one noticed when I did. The table is quiet again, but this silence feels right, not empty. More like everyone's holding something delicate and doesn't want to drop it. Your mom starts gathering plates, and your aunt doesn't stop her this time. There's no buzzing need to fill the space with stories or laughter or distractions. Just this. Just presence. You catch your reflection in the window. Still you. Same face. But for the first time, it feels like yours again, not a placeholder. Not a background character. Not the shadow of louder lives. Someone taps your shoulder. It's your cousin, the one who had mixed up your gift bag. Hey, she says. Sorry about earlier. That was messy. You wave it off. It's okay. No, she says. It's not, but thanks for what you said. About tomorrow, deserving a chance. You blink. You read it. She pulls out her phone. Shows you a screenshot. I found it years ago, she admits. Didn't know it was you. I read it once when I was in a bad place too. You stare at the screen. It's the same post, still floating, still circling, quietly saving people without permission. You don't cry, but your heart expands until it feels like it touches every wall in the room. You sit back. This house still isn't a home. Not entirely. But tonight, something in it cracked wide enough to let the light in. The night winds down like a tired exhale, but no one seems in a rush to leave anymore. It's as if the room itself is processing you all, each person rearranging their image of you and maybe of themselves too. Someone finally takes the last slice of pie. Someone else starts stacking paper plates. You sit still, letting them do what they do, feeling no guilt for staying seated. You've spent a lifetime filling their silences with effort. Tonight, you get to rest. Your mom walks past and pauses, looking like she might say something. Then she doesn't, just places a hand gently on your shoulder and keeps moving. You don't need a whole speech. That one small gesture for now is enough. Eric, the cousin with the new backyard and the protein obsession, comes to stand beside you, arms crossed. He says, I always thought you were just quiet, but I guess you were just building something where we couldn't see. You smile faintly. Not everything needs a spotlight. He nods. Yeah, but some things deserve one anyway. It's a strange thing to be acknowledged by someone you've mentally filed under doesn't get it. But tonight the file cabinets are open, and people are reshuffling their assumptions. Then, out of nowhere, your brother speaks up. Remember when we used to build those forts in Grandma's backyard? You blink. Yeah, you used to boss me around like a foreman on a construction site. He laughs. Well, someone had to make sure the couch cushions didn't collapse. There's a beat, a softness. I think about those forts sometimes, he says. They were the only place that felt safe. You nod, same. He glances down like that admission cost him something. We could have stayed connected, he says. But I didn't really try. You shrug, you were busy. So was I. He looks at you like he wants to apologize but doesn't know how. So instead, he says, next time you post something, will you send it to me? I want to read it. From you this time. You nod, yeah, I will. Your aunt, the one who invited Maeve, pulls you aside as she buttons her coat. I didn't know she came for you. You raise an eyebrow. You didn't ask. She winces, fair. She's good people, you say. Not just because of what she said, because she meant it. She sighs, I feel like I missed so much. You don't rush to comfort her. Instead, you say, you did. But that doesn't mean you have to keep missing it. Her eyes soften. We've been loud for so long. Maybe it made it hard to hear you. You nod. It did, but I'm not whispering anymore. There's a pause, a quiet nod. Then she hugs you, not the obligatory holiday kind, but something sturdier. You feel her inhale like she's absorbing your shape for the first time. People start to file out, shoes shuffle, hugs are exchanged. The air is cooler by the door, and the hallway smells like pine and cinnamon. You're not sure if the house is warmer because of you or if you're just finally breathing in, a way that lets you feel it. Your mom appears again, holding out a small container. I made extra stuffing. Thought you might want some to take home. You take it more surprised than anything. It's warm in your hands. Thanks. Then she adds, and I'd like to read that post, the one Maeve found, if you still have it. You pause, I do. Would you send it to me? You nod, okay. She smiles a little awkwardly, but real. I want to understand more, if you'll let me. You tuck the container into your bag and zip it shut. I think I'd like that. As you walk outside, the cold air kisses your skin. The porch light flickers once, then steadies. You glance up at the sky, clear, wide, unbothered. A small breeze lifts the hem of your coat, and for the first time in a long time, you don't feel like you're leaving something behind when you walk away. You feel like you're carrying something forward. The car ride home is quiet, but it's the kind of quiet you welcome. Not heavy, not lonely. Just yours. You roll the window down slightly, letting the cold brush your cheek like a whispered reminder you made it through something. You glance at the container of stuffing on the passenger seat. It feels symbolic, almost funny, like after years of emotional leftovers, someone finally offered you something warm on purpose. Your phone buzzes, a message from Maeve. Thank you. 2 words, full stop, nothing more. You stare at the screen a moment, then type back. No thank you, for remembering what I forgot. You don't send it. Not yet. Instead, you put the phone down and let the feeling linger, unsent but real. When you reach your apartment, everything feels the same. Same streetlight hum, same squeaky front door. But as you kick your shoes off and turn on the lamp, you realize something subtle has shifted. The space doesn't echo the way it usually does. It feels inhabited, claimed. You set down the stuffing, remove your coat, and then, without thinking, you walk to your desk. You open the laptop, fingers hesitating above the keys. For a moment, you're not sure what to write. Then you begin, not for followers, not for likes, not even for Maeve. You write for the you that sat through another Thanksgiving without knowing she'd be seen. You write for the you that thought being quiet meant being small. You write for every person scrolling at midnight, looking for something to keep them from unraveling. You write, "Tonight I remembered that being invisible to people doesn't mean you're invisible to the world. Sometimes the right person sees you exactly when you need it. And sometimes, just sometimes, they remind you who you are before you forget again." You pause, read it twice, then hit post. No hashtags, no tags, no context, just the truth. You stand, stretch, and walk to the window. The city glows like it always does. But tonight it feels a little less indifferent, a little more like a witness. You think about the bridge Maeve mentioned, the words she carried through her worst nights, and how those same words had almost vanished from your own memory. You think about your cousin showing you the screenshot on her phone, your mom asking to read what she once ignored, your brother remembering blanket forts and softness he couldn't name at the time. And it hits you all at once how many versions of you have quietly survived. The child who wanted to be noticed, the teen who wrote to herself in secret notebooks, the young adult who thought disappearing might be the easiest option. And now, this version, the one who stayed. You light a candle. It's nothing fancy lavender and cedar. The flame flickers gently, casting shadows across the walls. You sit down beside it. Let yourself breathe. For a moment, you don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to shrink or prove or charm your way into relevance. You just exist fully. There's a knock on your heart you finally answer, not from the outside, but from within. And when the quiet wraps around you, it feels like a quilt, not a void. You check your phone one last time before bed. Maeve's 2 words still glow on the screen. You finally hit send on your reply. Then you whisper aloud just to yourself, "I'm still here." And you realize it's enough. It's more than enough. The next morning arrives without drama. No epic revelations, no phone calls or new messages. Just soft light filtering through your blinds and the faint sound of city life stretching into the day. You stay in bed longer than usual, one arm over your head, watching dust float lazily in the sunbeam. There's peace in it, a kind that doesn't beg to be noticed, but insists on being felt. You finally rise and move through your morning without rush. No performance, no urgency. You make tea instead of coffee, choosing warmth over caffeine. You wrap yourself in your oldest sweater, the one with the frayed sleeve, but the perfect neckline, and sit by the window again. Your laptop is still open from the night before. The post you wrote has already begun to spread. Quietly, of course, like everything you create. But it's there. A few hundred likes, dozens of comments, messages even from usernames you don't recognize, but whose words echo like your own diary entries. "This saved me. I needed this today. You said what I couldn't." You close your eyes and let it wash over you, not like praise, but like connection. Not like attention, but like witnessing. And then a comment from your cousin, the one who laughed at your heartbreak years ago. The one who stood awkwardly last night holding the wrong gift bag. "I never said this before, but you matter. Thank you for doing what I never could." You stare at it for a long time. It's not a full apology, but it's a thread, a beginning. You respond simply, "You still can." You scroll further and spot a familiar name, your mom. Her comment is short, "I'm learning. Thank you for being patient while I do." That one catches you off guard. You don't respond right away. You let it sit. Let her sit with it too. Because this part of your story doesn't need to be rushed. Not everything has to be healed in one dinner, one post, one night. Sometimes you get a glimpse of change, and that's enough to begin. You spend the rest of your day doing what you always do. Laundry, reading, sending a check-in text to your crisis line team. Normal quiet acts of care. But there's a difference now, not in what you do, in how you hold yourself while doing it. You are no longer contorting to be visible. You are no longer shrinking to make others comfortable. You are not waiting for validation to feel valid. You are here, and that is enough. That evening, you light another candle. You write another post not because you feel broken, but because you feel whole enough to share. It's not about the dinner. It's not about Maeve. It's not even about the past. It's about presence. It's about remembering that your existence is not a question waiting to be answered. It's a quiet truth unfolding one sentence at a time. You don't reread it. You don't edit it to death. You just hit post. Then you close your laptop, draw the blanket up to your chin, and let the night take you gently. No noise, no need, just breath, just being.